The Chinese government says it may place the Philippines on a so-called tourist blacklist amid concerns about POGO operations in the country.
With this, Senate President Migz Zubiri said lawmakers now have to decide if they will ban POGOs or not. Mayan Los Baños with the big story.
Philippine offshore gaming operators or POGOs have had a series of issues hounding its back. From alleged cases of kidnapping to prostitution, the industry has since faced a downturn. Chinese Ambassador to the Philippines Huang Xilian also raised his concern in a meeting with Senate President Migz Zubiri. Gambling is illegal in China and the Chinese government has since appealed for support from other countries to regulate its operations. But with POGOs still operating in the Philippines, China has reportedly included the country in its tourism blacklist.
They do not know if the tourists going there will be operating or will be joining POGO operations. And they do not know if their nationals, the Chinese nationals who go to the Philippines, will be safe from illegal activities being done by the triad.
According to Senator Huang Xilian, the blacklist statement only serves as a warning.
Let me qualify, hindi pa ini-implement yan. There's a possibility. No? So, we have to wait for the official pronouncement ng Chinese Embassy. But based on our conversation, because ang conversation namin is about POGO, yan ang lumalabas. They might restrict tourists coming here.
According to NEDA and the Chinese government, nearly 2 million Chinese tourists visited the country in 2019. This year, it significantly dropped to around 22,000. Zubiri said lawmakers now have to decide if they will ban POGO operations or not. However, the Association of Service Providers and POGOs appealed to senators to take into account the industry's 61 billion peso contribution to national revenue in the last 6 years. Based on their data, about 23,000 Filipinos working in legitimate POGO companies will also be left jobless if the government shuts down the industry. Meanwhile, the Finance Department is confident that there will be industries that can compensate for the potential revenue loss. Xilian remains firm that the country can survive without POGOs. He added that he may recommend the shutdown of POGO operations to President Marcos. Reporting for News 5, Mayan Los Baños, we are One News.
To share his insights about the fate of POGOs in the Philippines, we have with us Senate President Migz Zubiri. He's joining us live via Zoom. Good evening, Senator Migz. Welcome to the big story.
Hello, Robbie and Gretchen, at sa lahat ng nanonood po ng Big Story. Good evening po. Magandang gabi po.
Magandang gabi po. Senator, alam na naman nating lahat yung arguments on either side. The industry saying and operators saying they bring in billions of pesos in revenue for us. At the same time, people have been pointing to social ills, social costs, criminality, and so on. Now, this potential cost for tourism, what does this do? Assuming na ituloy ito ng Beijing, what does this do to your analysis of the cost-benefit of the POGO industry?
Alam mo, Robbie, malaki mawawala sa ating bansa if we're blacklisted. I'm not saying that we're blacklisted now, but because they're still closed in terms of travel in China. But there is a big possibility, according to the ambassador, kasama ko po siya kahapon sa Senado at sinabi niya, na malaking posibilidad ma-blacklist ang Pilipinas kung tuloy-tuloy ang pagdadami ng POGO dito sa ating bansa for two reasons. Number one, according to the ambassador, it is an illegal activity, totally banned in China. Number one. Number two, they were also worried about the security of the Chinese nationals that will visit the countries that have POGO, kasi sabi nga nila, their experience in Cambodia, experience nila sa ibang bansa na nag-host ng POGO operations, napakaraming mga sindikato, yung mga triads, yung nagkikidnap ng mainland Chinese at talagang hino-hostage pa. So, natatakot sila para sa kanilang mga citizens. So they're very afraid of their citizens at this particular point in time. So yes, Robbie, Gretchen, it is a bigger loss for the country if we lose the tourism potential of China. Remember, in 2019, 2 million Chinese had visited the Philippines. Ang laki ng revenue income stream niyan. And then, in Thailand, of the same time, ang sabi pa nga ng ambassador sa amin, remember, in 2019, we had 10 million, 10 milyon ang pumunta sa Thailand in 2019. Imagine if those 10 million tourists ang bibisita dito sa atin. Ang MSMEs natin for tourism industry, it will just grow leaps and bounds. The hotel industry, the food industry, all the resorts, all the entertainment, of course, the entertainers that entertain our tourists in these areas where we have tourist spots. Talagang mawawala yan. Pag na-blacklist po tayo and manatili pong 22,000 lang ang Chinese na papasok taon-taon, ay talagang napakakawawa naman ng ating tourism sector. So, and you have to remember that they are 1.5 billion Chinese. So, imagine kung ilang porsyento lang ang bumisita sa ating bansa, ay talagang napakasayang ng investment opportunities. And Robbie, I just want to add that speaking to the Bureau of Immigration together with the DOJ, dahil nga itong fenomeno ng POGO, nagkakaroon po ng mga missing in action, ng mga TNT, tago ng tago ng mga Chinese nationals na pumapasok po sila sa bansa bilang turista, tapos hindi mo na makikita, nandun na pala sa POGO nagtatrabaho. Ang sabi sa amin ng Bureau of Immigrations, they suspended the visa upon arrival of mainland Chinese. Kasi kaya nga, dahil dyan, no, na pumapasok sila sa POGO. This visa upon arrival is given to Thailand. It used to be given by the Philippines before POGO, the POGO industry, lumaki at lumobo dito sa ating bansa. It's given to other countries like Malaysia and other countries that don't host POGO. Kaya okay lang magbigay po ng visa upon arrival. Then, hindi naman po tayo matatakot na magti-TNT ito, magtago ng tago ito mga bisitang ito.
Senator,
but because they're doing illegal activities, we had to stop that. And that's why the drop in increase of Chinese tourists has also gone down dramatically.
Senator, just looking at the other side of this, we're talking about what this says about the POGO operations, what China sees in the POGO operations, what we see in the POGO operations. But with China itself saying that you cannot even guarantee that something that we're banning can be somehow restricted and controlled in your border. You cannot even guarantee that you can keep track of our citizens once they're there. You cannot even guarantee that you can protect our citizens from our own citizens. What does this say, not about POGO, but about our country?
Well, that's why I'm with my chief of staff. She was right beside me this whole time when we were with the ambassador. And that was the concern of the ambassador. How would it look in the foreign international community, about things like that happening here? It will give us a black eye. And remember, Robbie, this is a total ban in China. Ang sabi nila, this is illegal, Mr. Senate President. Illegal po to sa amin. So, ang dating po ng mensahe ng Chinese Ambassador sa akin is like, my question is, as far as I'm concerned, this is not coming from the Chinese Ambassador, but as far as I'm concerned, parang we are hosting, aiding, and abetting an illegal activity in another country. Can you imagine? Kasi illegal nga po siya, pero tayo ang tumutulong at nagsusulsol nitong illegal activity para sa ibang bansa na napaka unfortunate at galit na galit nga. It's a ticklish issue between, I believe we also talked about that it was also a ticklish issue in the last administration, because I was told by the ambassador that President Xi Jinping had asked the former president nga to stop POGO in the country. And I think it will also be asked if there are going to be bilateral talks between our president and Xi Jinping. So this is now going to be a foreign relations problem, Robbie, sa tingin ko, malaking mawawala sa atin pag tinuloy po natin ito in terms of tourism, of course, in terms of the perception of the public. Pagdating po nito mga sindikato operating within our shores, baka sabihin hindi po safe dito sa atin. So, if you ask me, the overall sum is lugi ang bansa Itong sinasabi po nilang mawawala pong trabaho itong mga service providers. They say there's about, and if I'm looking at the list right here, they said directly hired by POGO is about 10,000 and indirect hiring is about 11,000. Doon sa direct hiring, Rabi, yun yung mga security guards, mga drivers nila, yung mga cooks, yung mga assistants. Pwede naman natin hanapin na itong mga trabaho, itong mga kababayan natin na trabaho pag mabuhay muli ang tourism industry. Why don't we focus on the BPO sector? Malaking nawala sa atin sa BPO sector. We're losing to India and we're losing to other countries in the region. Why don't we get it back? We were number one once upon a time. Itulak na lang natin yung BPO at tourism industries. Pangalawa, yung sinasabi nilang mawawala sa ating real estate sector, ang katotohanan yan, Robbie, the POGO industry has also aided and abetted our inflation in terms of housing units. Ang dami-dami pong nating mga kababayan hindi na maka-afford ng one-bedroom condo, ng studio, lalo na pong galing sa probinsya, magtatrabaho sa Metro Manila, ay maghahanap po sila ng matirahan. Napakamahal dahil yung POGO daw, ang ino-offer ay ×2. So that is inflationary in terms of the price increase on the cost of living.
Okay.
All right, maraming salamat po. That was Senate President Migz Zubiri on the ban on POGOs.